Okay, time to replace the stock speakers with the J&Ms. Looking at the J&Ms, they don't look much better than this. So we'll see. But I will tell you, getting the screws out of these four speakers is a bear. You can get at this one right here with a, a torque driver. But these are buried. What I have is a Chapman set, and this is a 7mm Allen that happens to fit these torques. And it's easy to get in there, and it's a wrench. So far I've gotten 3 out. I just got this corner one to get. But I'm just letting you know, if you go for this, you're going to need some kind of tool like this. You're not getting this one up here with a socket and a Torx in it because it's not deep enough. So you need something small like this, okay? You might be able to get one of those flexi drivers that, is basically a spring and kind of hold it in there and get it. But this worked great for me, so I thought I'd give you that tip. Anyway, I'm going to continue on. So you are able to get the speakers out through this hole. It's not an easy process. It's kind of like a Chinese puzzle. You got to twist just right. I had to flex this up just a little bit to get it up from under here, and then I was able to get it out. But there's no way those J&Ms are going in through that hole, which is a total bummer because reading the instructions, windshield's got to come off. Side panels have to come off. Front has to come off. You got to remove this top panel. You got to remove the cluster. Everything just to get this piece out, including your glove box. You got to move it back. This is not going to be an easy job. So I'm going to look online, see if someone's figured out a way. But man, what a pain in the rear. Just letting you know. I'll probably have this all apart at some point and show you. Documenting doing this, as I showed in one of my videos, I was able to get these speakers out through the grill. It's a little bit of a Chinese puzzle, but you can. However, I watched another video on the internet. The guy showed an easier way. And basically, you got to pop your mirror off. You remove the screws to remove this side panel. Then you pop those 2 pop rivets. There's a screw right down in here that holds this. See, this thing would be in the way if it was down here. So it doesn't give you much wiggle room. But if you remove that screw and this one up here, then you get some wiggle room here to be able to pry this up and get that speaker right out of there. Alright? So that's fairly straightforward. I'm going to have these front ones done in no time at all. By the way, to get at these back screws, now that you can get in here with a wrench, with a socket wrench with a torque, you can get in here. This one, you won't be able to. But what I did is I used a Torx bit on a what's called a Chapman set. It's a ratchet. Here, I'll show it to you in a minute. But I used that and was able to get the screws out. So this is a Chapman set. That's a 7mm hex. It has a stop on it so it won't go through. Regular Torx will slide right through this. But as you see, it's ratchet. So you can ratchet out. It doesn't go both ways. You flip it over to go the other way. Anyway, we'll have this out in a minute. Folks, the speaker pod came off fairly easy on the left side. 3 screws inside the trunk. Alright, and 2, you don't have to totally remove this panel. You got to remove those 2 screws and the 2 down on the case here. And then there's 2 screws on the side here. And then you kind of finagle it off of there. I did not have to remove the backrest, but who knows, maybe getting it back on might be a little tougher. I think it would be easier if you removed the backrest, but you don't have to. Anyway, I probably will to get it back on because it was underneath this tab right here. Anyway, now we'll see about getting that apart. The only screws I see on the inside are right here and one over here. So we're going to take those off and maybe figure out how this comes apart. But I'll try to video it. There was a 3rd screw right here in this corner. Now down inside here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it. Hold on, let me turn my light on. Okay, light is on. You can see these little slide locking tabs down in here, and there's one down in here. It looks like if you pop off this seam, the whole unit will slide down off those tabs, so you can see one in there. So that's what it looks like. That will get this panel detached. Haven't seen how to get this off yet, but we're going to figure that out, and I'll try to show you as I go. The engineer designed this, I tell you. Alright, once that panel came off, which I was correct, you basically slid it down off of these slots and the one here. Actually, I think it was that way, but anyway. Then it's going to expose 2 screws There's actually one screw here for this rubber armrest. There's another screw over here for this side cover, which is part of the speaker grill, and I think we'll get that off at that point. I don't think we need to remove this rubber armrest, just this grill. So I think by removing that screw, that'll also unsnap. Okay, so kind of a puzzle, but not difficult. All right, pretty easy actually. Anyway, we'll continue on. Okay, so I was correct. That one screw here, or here, the grill just came right off. Now we can access the speaker. Now, so you also know, if you ever wanted to remove your armrest for whatever, there's two screws under here as well. So that back one I did not have to remove, and the two screws under here will take out the armrest, but no need to do that to replace this speaker. Okay, so I'm not going to show the reverse here. I'm just going to go ahead and put my J&M speaker in, replacement speaker, and put this back on. When we do the left side of the bike, or the right side of the bike, we'll see how to take that apart with all that cabling and antenna without taking that off. All right, so I'll probably show some tips on that. Okay, J&Ms are in. Unlike the front speakers where they gave you new screws, they did not for the rear, and there were washers between the speaker and the rubber. These are basically rubber nuts is all they are, so be careful, don't over tighten them. You don't want to like tear them up, because it's just threading into a nut that's captured in rubber to dampen. All right, so just some tips there, but went in cleanly and no issues, and so I'm just going to assemble this pod, and again we'll talk about the right side when I get there. Okay, got the 3 screws out. I did remove the back seat, loose. I took it off, and basically one of the complaints was having to take this apart because of all this wiring. It's really not hard. One nut here on a long screw, that's part of the antenna block, okay, which is held on by that bolt there. Then you've got another bolt here for the ground strap, so I'm just going to use the socket, take that off, and then this box will be free. Of course, unplug the speakers, and this box will be free to work on the bench. So it's not that big a deal. You just got to remove those 2 wires. Anyway, we'll proceed. Okay, what I did was to get it off, of course, to get this cover off, the antenna is attached on the inside with another bolt right there. All right, this long bolt is just for the ground strap. And hold on, let me set this aside so I don't scratch the hell out of it. So I removed that, and then once again, those tangs, just like I showed, in those slots, the panel moved back this way. So pretty easy. Basically, you pull it away, and once you get it pulled away a little bit, the tangs came out, and of course the antenna came with it. Should be easy to go back together there. Alright, so that's basically the only difference with the right side. You got a ground strap and an antenna line to remove, and then you've got to remove that bolt for the antenna block. You don't have to remove the antenna off the block. Alright, and then that'll give us access to the pod just like the other one. Anyway, that's going to wrap up the J&M speaker install video. Hope this was helpful for folks. Have a good one. Okay, just to follow up, the J&M speaker upgrades are in. I will say that I did notice a difference. They seem to have a little more bass, a little more fidelity, so I like the upgrade myself. One thing I will tell you is I had to turn my bass down, though, because the bass was distorting. Now, I don't know if I'm going to tear it apart to do this, even though I've still got the panels off, but the speakers came with a foam seal around the inside, so when you mounted them, it sealed the box, the speaker box. I think those probably should be taken off. You'd probably get a little more air there. With the box sealed, the speaker can't breathe as much, and I think that's why the bass was distorting. Just my opinion. If I have time, I'll take them back apart, and these are a pain in the butt to do. But maybe take those foam seals off before you mount them. The stock speakers did not have those foam seals. Again, I think that's to allow a little bit of air movement in and out of the box. Just a guess on my part. I'm not an audio guy. But anyway, that's my experience. Had to turn the bass down a little bit, but plenty loud, and I like the fidelity. So once I get on the freeway and start riding and see what they sound like, I'll fill you in more on my opinion on the upgrade, but that's what I've got so far. All right, hope this was helpful. Enjoy.